Next, that brings us up to item number 7 is a request to reconcile board position on protection of drinking water resources. And I'll recognize Jeremiah Davis.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the Commission. I'm Jay Davis. I've lived here in Rapid City for the last 25 years. I'm part of a very broad grassroots coalition of people in environmental groups, conservation groups, fly fishermen, people who enjoy recreation at Lake Pactola and Rapid Creek, who have been working for some time to get a mineral withdrawal to protect the Rapid Creek watershed from the threat of mining or mineral exploration. Recently, it was called to our attention that this commission directed a letter to the Forest Service on October 3rd, opposing the proposed mineral withdrawal currently being considered by the Forest Service. To put that in perspective, there were close to 2,000 public comments submitted to the Forest Service, well over 90% of which were in support of the proposed mineral withdrawal. So we have a definite difference of opinion just on the merits of the issue. But there's an accusation in this letter that's false, where it says, "It is our understanding the withdrawal request was issued at the national level after the local Forest Service had conducted the NEPA process and found no significant impacts from the proposed exploratory mining proposal." Far from being something forced on the local people, local government and people by federal bureaucrats, this has been an authentic grassroots movement that has bubbled up because people love Rapid Creek, they love Pactola, and they value clean drinking water into our future. Indeed, our name calls attention to the creek. Minaloosahan is fast-moving water, and Rapid City, the translation, calls attention to Rapid Creek. And part of that grassroots movement in support of protecting our water resources from the threat of mining at Jenny Gulch or right in the Pactola area actually was a letter from this same commission on August 2nd of 2022, just over 2 years ago, where the commission expressed concerns regarding the impact to the Jenny Gulch area and the surrounding watershed. The county commission would, and I'm reading from your letter, the county commission would respectfully request that you consider the concerns of our citizens and the potential impacts to them from this project or any other future exploration or mining proposals in the sensitive Jenny Gulch area, unquote. I would commend this commission for being part of the grassroots effort to protect the Rapid Creek watershed in that letter from 2 years ago. And in terms of specific action that I would suggest to the commission today, I think an apology is owed to the Forest Service for the assertion that hopefully you folks didn't really mean that this is something being imposed by federal bureaucrats on the local people. And clearly the Forest Service responded to, we see yard signs all over town to protect Rapid Creek. We see electronic billboards. As I mentioned, there's the almost 2,000 letters of concern and support. And a mineral withdrawal is legal under federal law, and it's a legitimate way to protect our watershed into the future. I know there's other people here on this issue, and I don't want to hog their time, but I urgently wanted to bring this to this inconsistency to the attention of this commission.
Thanks, Jay. And what I'd like to do is we got people that video in on this, so I'd like to read what our letter was, and then I'd also like to clarify what withdrawal is and some other stuff that was on there, if you're okay with that. Okay. The June 20th, 23 letter was public comments on Pactola Reservoir, Rapid Creek Watershed Withdrawal, NP 3479. County Commission's letter was, while the Pennington County Board of Commissioners supports responsible mining in the Black Hills to support technology and the national defense, the integrity and longevity of our drinking water sources remains our priority. We see and support proposed withdrawal applications submitted by the USDA Forest Service as a proactive measure protecting the cultural and natural resources of Pactola Reservoir. Rapid Creek Watershed, which includes the municipal water for Rapid City and Ellsworth Air Force Base, from the adverse impacts of minerals exploration and development. With that said, it is our understanding the withdrawal request was issued at the national level after the local Forest Service had conducted a NEPA process and found no significant impacts from proposed exploratory mining proposal. The Pennington County Board of County Commissioners supports local control of our federal lands and would expect any future management decisions or proposed withdrawals be initiated by the Black Hills National Forest with consultation from the state and local officials. That was the letter, and with them, just for clarification, they have frequently asked questions for the Pactola Reservoir Creek Watershed withdrawal from the Black Hills National Forest. That states, what is a withdrawal? A withdrawal serves without close an area of federal land from settlement, sale, location, or entry for some or all the general land laws, including the mining and mineral leasing, mineral materials, geothermal leasing laws, the purpose for limiting activities under those authorities to maintain identified public values in the area or reserve the area for a particular public purpose or program. Another question was the purpose of the request for the withdrawal was, and I just highlighted the bottom part, Jay, is the Forest Service has applied for a withdrawal of the area in response to concerns about potential impacts of mineral exploration and development on the area's cultural and natural resources and municipal water supplies. That's underneath, so people can go in there and see the frequently asked questions is just a education part. And I do remember that they held an open meeting. I'd have to go back through the dates, but I think me and Mr. Roskinek attended that up at Ramcota, and I believe you were there too. So a lot of this come from that too. But I just wanted to share that information so the people watching have a little more information.
And to clarify, the 1872 Mining Act does give mining and mineral exploration priority over other uses of national forests. And that law, in spite of many efforts to reform it or modify it, has remained in effect since before Custer's invasion of the Black Hills. I mean, it's an old law. However, there are legal ways to protect national forest lands that are particularly sensitive or important from mining or mineral exploration. The Rapid Creek watershed, either 20,000 acres of it or the entire watershed, could be permanently protected by an act of Congress. Short of that, the Forest Service can recommend to the BLM that these 20,000 acres be protected for a period of 20 years while we sort things out. And that's the proposal that we're currently addressing. I was heartened by this commission's earlier position on the issue and quite concerned about the change this year.
Well, I want to thank you for bringing it forward, and thank you for calling and talking. And as I said, when I was talking to you, I didn't have all the information because it had been a while. Quite frankly, I apologize. There was a grassroots part of it, and we probably should have had that in there also. But at the time, we did the best we did with what we had. So,
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Roskinek.
my position is I want to support that moratorium. Not only that 20,574 acres, but I think it should be extended all the way up to the Black Fox, which is really the headwaters of Rapid Creek. So just that's my 2 cents worth. I totally support that moratorium because if we don't do it now, don't start taking those steps, I think we're going to, further future generations are going to be, they're the ones that are going to be impacted.
Commissioner Roskinek, I totally agree with what you just said. And I know there's quite a few people here in the audience who also agree with what you just said. And I thank you for your position.
Chairman.
Ms. Hadcock.
So, I respect what you guys are saying about the watershed, because I think every citizen in the nation believes we have to have clean drinking water. But you also had a lot of opposition from ranchers and other people that you're saying on this, they're for it. We went, and I helped when they went to the city and were concerned about their leases and their things that were around Pactola, and that they could be shut down because of that. I also believe if you are a watershed committee, the number one pollution of watershed is stormwater. But what I keep seeing, and I can respect that you believe in the watershed, but it's not just mining. And every time that you have came up here on an issue, it's been about mining. It's not been about the full impact of watershed and what people have done with their properties, or even having recreational areas next to watersheds. So how does that impact? Because we know from Sheridan Lake the impacts of population above Hill City, and those impacts in that watershed, that wasn't from mining. That was from people that ended up having the issues in Sheridan Lake. So for me, to support a moratorium, it's not a moratorium, it's a withdrawal, it would have to be about the watershed in a whole, and how those impacts, and proven that those impacts from human beings, meaning stormwater, mining, and other areas have impacted it to be withdrawal. That's why I didn't vote for it, because I'm not just going to go after mining. If I'm going to do something, it's going to be respectfully on watershed and how that whole impact is going to make a problem or has made a problem in the past. Based on this, what Commissioner Corey just read, they found that there was no impact from that particular F3. And also, if we're going to move this forward, I'd like to see the other side, and I'd like to hear from the other side again, because they had some good information. And again, everybody believes, I truly believe everybody wants clean drinking water. But if you're going to call a watershed area, then take every part of that watershed and pull it apart, bring that forward, and then let's take a look at the impacts of what we need to do as a city, county, or state to protect that. There's one gold company so far, and to withdraw without the consent of the other side, meaning the ranchers and the people that had spoke last time. And you already know this by now, Mr. Davis. I like to hear the whole story. And I don't believe you guys are doing anything facetious. I think you're doing it because you truly believe in watershed and water like I do. But you've known me long enough. I got to see all the facts. I got to see all the information. So today, I'm not willing to make any decision on this, but just for information, please bring all the information on water in the watershed areas that you feel that are impacting besides that. Because I think if we're going to find a solution and withdraw 20,000 acres, I want to see all the issues in that area that we can impact by a county by sending a letter that's saying, okay, this is what's happening, this is what's happening. We believe in drinking water, and we believe we should move this forward because Pennington County also believes in clean drinking water, sir.
Ms. Hadcock, just for clarification, what I read is what the commission approved for public comment sent to the Forest Service Board. So it's not something that it's a request. He's just asking for clarification on that part. So it was voted on and approved and signed and sent out.
Yes.
So,
But I'm saying, I'm sorry, Commissioner, what I'm saying is, so Mr. Davis knows and the audience knows, we are not trying to go the other way on you. We just, or I should say I believe on this letter, that's what I should have said, is that the whole impact should be in the letter, not just a piece of it. If we're going to move forward on saying that it's just not mining that we have an issue with, if we want to protect our watershed, maybe we should, and the Forest Service should look at all the impacts. How about that?
Commissioner Hadcock, just to be clear, the effort for the mineral withdrawal is not in any way a threat to cattle grazing, ranching, or other agriculture, or for that matter, recreational uses within Pactola. A lot of us do not agree that exploration for gold in Jenny Gulch would have no significant impact. That's not been our experience historically when there's been mineral exploration or mining close to water sources in the Black Hills. We're more sensitive to environmental concerns than they were in the 1870s or even in the 1970s. But
With that, I'll go to your speaker requests. You got
Thank
two
you, Mr.
speakers.
Davis.
Thanks, Jay.
thank you, Mr. Chair.
First on my first speaker request form on this item was William Wagner.
Yes, sir. Morning.
Morning, William.
Morning, commissioners. Good morning, everybody. We're all aware that you are in consent of the Constitution, which means you are in contract to the Constitution to preserve, protect, and defend. And as of January 18th of 2023, the final rule of WOTUS has been written, and y'all are under the Supremacy Clause is a provision of the United States Constitution that establishes that the federal law takes precedence over state law if the two conflict, okay? And they did do a significant nexus. They did find that at the karst, let me make sure I got it's spelled KRST. It's where the water, above ground water, hits limestone and goes underwater, which is the shallow aquifers, which are very, very vulnerable, which in world law, it says that y'all are supposed to be educating the people of how vulnerable these karsts are. I haven't seen a darn thing about that, okay? And y'all are actually out of the jurisdiction because it does fall under WOTUS, Pactola does, and it's really an insult because Pactola is basically a toilet bowl if you ain't protecting the 100,000 acres above the Pactola rim, you know? So this is out of y'all jurisdiction. It actually goes to the federal government or the US ACE, which is United States Army Corps of Engineers. So I think we need to reevaluate how we're gonna do this and send this to the right people because this municipality here is out of its jurisdiction, actually. Thank you.
Thank you. Williams, and I'll just reiterate, there's no action item on this item. This is informational from that was.
Right, well, it's information
It's
sent
a-
to y'all
yeah,
and to the people that this should be under federal guidance, not from y'all guidance.
I'm just
under the
clarifying
WOTUS.
the agenda on the item, on
Right,
that.
thanks.
Thanks, James. Rebecca Turk.
I actually have a few handouts. Should I approach the dais or?
Yes, please.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, my name is Rebecca Turk, and I am the interim chair of Rapid Creek Watershed Action. So folks who are in the audience or online who have not seen what I just handed out, it is a map of the Upper Rapid Creek watershed with the proposed mineral claims withdrawal kind of overlaid over the top of it. So folks can see the extent of the Rapid Creek watershed and what this withdrawal actually impacts. And although Mr. Davis, previously quoted some of your letter, I want to suggest again that the letter from the Pennington County Board, which we very much appreciated, dated August 2nd, 2022, expressed concerns with the proposed F3 drilling project in Jenny Gulch. And I understand that not everyone can see this map, but what it shows is that this withdrawal specifically overlays that proposed mineral withdrawal. And so, I want to suggest that, in the follow-up letter that was submitted that suggested, well, we're concerned that this is coming down from the federal level. In one sense, that's true because these are federal agencies. But in another sense, it's very clear that the proposed mineral claims withdrawal was actually a very clear and direct response to those concerns. And you can see on this map that it impacts a small area. 20,000 acres seems like a lot, I think, but it's not really compared to the 200,000 or so acres of the entire Upper Rapid Creek watershed. So I went back and I watched the video from the October 1st meeting of this year where there was a discussion about submitting comments opposing the withdrawal. And unfortunately, we missed that meeting. It was on the consent calendar. It was pulled off. And there was a representative from the South Dakota Mineral Industries Association here who made a few claims about this withdrawal and about the process. And I want to clarify a couple of things about that. First of all, Mr. Neff, Quinn Neff, suggested that two environmental assessments, one for the proposed drilling and one for the withdrawal, that both indicated that there was no significant impact. That can't happen. That can't possibly be true. Both things can't be true, but in fact they can. You can propose all kinds of different projects, and you can do an assessment and say, well, there's no real significant impact from this. But what I will say, and what Mr. Neff failed to say, was that on the F3 Jenny Gulch proposed drilling project, the Forest Service was actually assessing that under NEPA rules which had expired. And so that was part of the public comment that we made and other organizations made was, hey, you're not using the right rules to look at this. And of course, the Forest Service realized that they had kind of screwed up on that. And, but that's not something you're going to hear from South Dakota Mineral Industries is that, hey, we actually did this wrong and we did it under a very...
Sorry, ma'am. Point of order.
Well,
This is supposed to be on the letter, not on a person or a group today.
This is in response to comments made
but they cannot
around
back you
the
up today.
resubmission of the letter.
They cannot back this up, and they have no representative here today because we're going to talk about the letter. So I think it's unfair for you to make comments on someone that cannot counteract what you're saying today.
I'm
So
responding directly to
Okay.
comments that were
Okay,
made in
ma'am.
front of this commission.
ma'am, I need to stop this. She called for a point of order and I need to make a decision. She does have a point that you're referencing a previous meeting and a person, and they're not here to be able to respond to that. So it's, I'm gonna support the motion or the statement for a point of order.
Sure. Okay. Thank you for that. I will just wrap up my comments indicating that in the second submission from the county commission opposing the mineral withdrawal, once again, there was a suggestion that this came down from a federal level. And yes, federal agencies do have the final say-so. It's federal land, U.S. Forest Service, BLM. But I want to, further drive home the fact that this was the result of thousands of comments, both against the F3 Jenny Gulch our drilling project and for the mineral withdrawal. And so, looking at this map, and I'm happy to provide anyone else with a copy of it, you can see that it was a direct response to local concerns. So I thank you very much for your
Thank
time.
you.
Happy to answer questions.
Thank you, Rebecca. And thank you for your comments. And I just wanted to reiterate that there's no action on this item. This was brought forward as informational and put on the agenda as a concern that your guys' organization wanted to make known that there was also a grassroots organization that supported that. So I think you guys made your point clear.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Commissioners.
Next, that brings us up to item number 8, and this is items from the auditor.
Good morning, Casey Eisland, Chief Deputy Auditor. The first thing I have is a new retail on-off sale malt beverage and South Dakota Farm wine license for Folsom Ranch Crossing.
So, does the commission have any questions for Casey? If not, I'd look for a motion.
Mr. Chair, move to approve the new license for retail on-off sale malt beverage and South Dakota Farm wine license for Folsom Ranch Crossing.
Sorry.
Moved by Roskinek, seconded by Drews. Any further discussion, comments? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
The next is a renewal retail on-off sale wine and cider license for Moonshine Gulch Saloon LLC.
Is there any questions for Casey on that?
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Roskinek?
move to approve the renewal of the retail on-off sale wine and cider license release upon payment of appropriate property taxes for Moonshine Goat Saloon LLC.
Second.
Moved by Roskinek, seconded by Drews. Any further discussion or comments? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item C, Casey.
The final one is information regarding the 2024 general election post-election audit, which was held on November 21st. We audited the results of 2 contests in 3 different precincts with 0 discrepancies found. No motion is necessarily needed, but it's just information only if anybody has
Information.
questions.
How did it go?
It went very well. We had 23 people that we called in to audit. They were here about 9 to 1. They came a little bit before for school and they had a half-hour lunch, so it really didn't take that long.
Chair,
Ms. Hancock?
could you tell them what a legislative audit is for people that don't know why we did it and how that came about, Ms. Casey?
So state